Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit. Life has been crazy busy. A lot of stuff going on, and in the process of training for a race, moving up to Whitefish from Missoula, and then June is packed to be a busy month of travel. So we'll be down in Vail, Colorado for the GoPro games with Mountain House. And then we will also be at Pacific Northwest out in Bend, Oregon at the end of June. So thanks for bearing with me, guys. But again, it's just been a crazy hectic time with everything that's going on. But in this video, I wanted to cover the Super Pacific build as it's set up right now. There's going to be some changes that will be happening in the rear, specifically around power, and that will be an exciting thing to do in a couple weeks. But as of right now, I have spent 32 nights in the Super Pacific since about January 15th is when I picked it up. It's been a phenomenal camper. I put it through its paces, and I'm going to do the same type of review around 50 nights that I did with the GFC, my overall thoughts, my overall impressions, and just some things that I would potentially like to see Super Pacific do better, because I think with any product, there is always a space and an area where a company can improve upon an already fantastic product. But enough of that. With that being said, we're gonna go ahead and dive into how I've built out my Super Pacific thus far. And I think for this video, doing a POV style is going to be best. So we're on the big camera right now. Once we start walking around though, the Super Pacific, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to my iPhone and just give you guys that POV perspective on just how everything is looking. And I think that's probably gonna be the most efficient and also the most helpful way for you guys to kind of see how everything's built out. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and dive into the exterior, and then we'll go ahead and dive into the interior. All right, guys, so first things first, we are going to cover the Starlink. Starlink has been an incredible addition, and if you are planning on working remote at all, where service is going to be questionable, Starlink is definitely the option or solution for you. It's been a fantastic addition to working remote, having service in very remote spots. And the big thing with Starlink, I know a lot of people hate on it, like, why do you want to be connected? Why do you want to have service when, you know, you're out camping? For me specifically though, Starlink has given me the ability to do this type of travel and still work. Okay, without Starlink, I would not be able to do that. So for that matter, Starlink has been a fantastic addition. And we are utilizing a 3D printed Starlink mount from my good friend, Blake, over at BZ Shop. He also printed these 3D wire clamps or holders. So I run the cable along this, down there, and then we just route it right into this door here, okay? This is an aftermarket cable. This is a 16-foot cable, so it is a perfect length for this short bed Tacoma. I basically have just a little bit of extra, and we'll see where the router is mounted on this back wall, okay? So Starlink is the first thing on the exterior. Next, we have the Josh Edgar drip rails, which are a fantastic addition as well, because the Super Pacific does an amazing job at draining water, which is a huge pro. The only con is that this water drips directly into the door on both the passenger and driver side, okay? So these are a great addition. If you have a rack, so this is a Sherpa rack that was originally for a GFC. I cut it to fit. Sherpa does make a specific rack that is compatible with the Super Pacifics. I just wanted to save a little extra money, and I also wanted to keep my rock light mounts in the front here. So I just decided to cut this. But if you're doing the Josh Edgar drip rails, they may not work with your rack, okay? So those are on both sides. Now, in terms of solar, we have currently, I say currently right now because we are in possibly the works of upgrading this, Currently we have two 100-watt Bougee RV panels. And the way that I have set up these panels specifically is one panel is running into the Super Pacific to charge my power station. And then the other panel is actually running into the dual battery system that I have underneath the hood. TDLR, I would not recommend doing a dual battery setup, specifically an AGM one. I will be in the process of taking mine out and switching to a lithium battery setup in the rear. Working with a few companies on that, so I'm super excited. Again, different story, another video, but that is how we have the solar set up right now. So 100-watt panel going into the Super Pacific, the other 100-watt panel going into the engine bay of the Tacoma. And to be honest, these Bougee RV panels, in my probably about 6 months of having them, well, not 6 months because they've been on the camper for a little bit less than that. We'll say 3 months of owning them. They're fairly efficient, all right? The only concern is longevity. Will they decrease in efficiency long term? How will they hold up to the elements? But first impressions for a knockoff, cheaper style solar panel, I am impressed, okay? Now let's walk over to this side, because this is another question that I get pretty frequently as well, is my awning. This is an Overland Pros Wraptor, W-R-A-P-T-O-R, Wraptor 6K. This thing is a beast, all right? We are utilizing 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Super Pacific awning mounts just to keep this thing sturdy. But this awning, if you ever add an awning to your setup, I would highly recommend doing a 270. I had the old style ARB, which is like the 6.5 by 8 foot style awning. I never used it because it took forever to actually set up. This thing is so much easier, provides a lot of shade. It's been great in rain, snow. I don't deploy it too much in wind, but I have had it in some windy conditions and it seems to do just fine, okay? So for the exterior, that is pretty much it. Besides, we have one more. Besides the 3D printed Baja brake lights. And this is again from my friend Blake at BZ's shop. This thing is incredible. It was on the GFC, swapped it over to the Super Pacific. We have two amber Baja chase lights that are slightly slanted, okay? And then we have the two that are connected to the brake light, all right? So these two will light up when braking, and then these are actually connected to my Switch Pro. Now, one thing to note about the Super Pacific that is awesome is they do not use proprietary hardware or mounting. So mounting stuff to the exterior is a dream and a breeze, just like these little awning pull mounts for the back door were extremely easy to mount, okay? So just one thing to note. In terms of exterior, that's pretty much it, okay? We've kept it really simple. Like I said, we'll probably change the solar up on top at some point. Maybe do a flat mount for the Starlink. We will be doing a 12-volt conversion though for this. We have that coming here shortly, and that will be included with the power overhaul that will be happening in the rear. So with that being said, let's open up the doors and start diving into the interior of the Super Pacific. All right, so starting on the passenger side, we have this Molly panel from Super Pacific. And this one is built, or made, I should say, to house a setup like this Dometic, okay? So this thing is awesome and incredible. It holds the water tank on the inside there, and then you have your little Dometic faucet. This thing is extremely bougie, but it is by far probably one of my favorite additions that I've made to the camper as well. It's just super nice to have the water tank out of the way when you need water in the evening. You can also even access this from the inside if needed as well. It's got a little light and it's just tap, but this is a game changer for just water when camping. Now next to it, we have the jet boil, just the regular camp stove, the smaller one that is attached to it. And then I kind of call this like my coffee station. So I have my little grinder in here. I usually have some Trader Joe's packets, and then I just have some silverware as well. So this just really just provides super easy access to making food. If I need a utensil, whatever it is, like this just little setup is incredible. And then we have the Montana Knife Company hatchet up here on the top again for easy access, right? Now, right now, this is how I'm holding my paper towels, and then we just have some TP up here as well. I plan on getting, which I saw this on someone else's Super Pacific, is a basically 3M'd some magnets, and then there is a company, I forget the name of it, that actually makes a paper towel holder, and they just have it up there on the door. So I'll probably switch to something like that because I have to kind of intertwine these bungee cords to prevent this from unrolling, okay? So that is the passenger side door setup. Now, if we move into the rear door, we have two of these Super Pacific bags. And let me just say that their bags are incredible because they truly think of everything when designing these. So you'll see a zipper here and a zipper on the back. So you can access this on the exterior. Closing this with one hand is going to be difficult. You can access this on the exterior, and then when the door is shut, you can access on the other side, okay? So let's just say there was this zipper on the outside, you close the door, you need to get something from the inside. When the door's shut, you try to undo this, everything's gonna fall out, but having dual zippers prevents that, okay? So I kind of just store random stuff in here, just some cleaning supplies, wipes, etc., stuff like that. And then we have another one over here, just some cookware. I have like a tea kettle, some collapsible cups and plates as well, right? Now, moving over to this side, same setup. We just have one of their mesh style bags, and it's hard to maybe see this, but it's kind of like that rubber material. Okay, so it does feel durable. Dual zippers, once again, so both sides. This is like more of my coffee bag. So again, I can also access that from the inside if necessary. Now, since we're talking about it, we have three of these Baja push button rock lights. So we have one on this side, one on that side, and then also one right here, okay? So that covers all three doors. And now let's dive in with the juicy part and into the back. All right, so before we dive in there, I want to cover this. This is the Mountain Hatch tailgate insert. Again, if you have ever tried to cook on the tailgate of a Tacoma or really any truck, you know that it has that wavy tailgate insert, which is just absolute trash to cook on. This Mountain Hatch is fantastic. Not only is it easier to get into the back of the truck, but also just to cook off of a very flat surface. And this is also a cutting board material, so you could technically cut on this if you wanted to. Now, this is how the setup looks currently. Excuse the dirt and the mess. We have actually been in the truck now for a little over a week, so things are a little chaotic and a little dirty. But with that being said, this Goose gear setup has been probably one of the most recent additions. If you guys recall with the GFC, I had a bench style seat across the back here, and I actually kept that in When I got the Super Pacific, because I was honestly, realistically planning on keeping that, worked phenomenal. It was fantastic. But there was an offer that I could not resist on this Goose Gear setup, and I am actually the 4th or 5th owner of this, and it's not even Super Pacific specific, actually. So this is actually built for a Vagabond camper, believe it or not. And we also have the Goose Gear base plate underneath there. But the original owner, the individual that I got this from, actually also had the fridge slides set up on this side. And personally, I kind of thought it was a waste of space. I also have my fridge in the back seat, so I just completely removed that, and I think it works incredibly well for my specific needs. All right. So on this side, we have kind of just like dry food storage. So honestly, what I keep in here, it's just Mountain House meals and some other things if needed. And then up on the top one here, kind of just some random stuff. And I really need to go through all of my stuff again and really just kind of condense and minimize, but just some random storage. These are collapsible sea to summit cups, bowls, plates. We've got a pot if necessary or needed, hot cocoa. This is just another burner stove. So I have the Bellman espresso maker, and that's essentially what this is used for. So the drawers are really nice, but I can also do a better job organizing now that I've used this setup for quite a few trips. I kind of have some stuff in mind that I can kind of condense and move around to just work better. All right. Now on the sides, so I had a bed rug with the GFC in the past, that bench seat. So the bed rug was actually on the bottom portion and then also on the side portion here. I really liked the bed rug, mainly for the insulation factor, especially when winter camping, okay? It was also really nice on the knees when climbing in and out of the camper, and I wanted to keep the insulation effect as much as possible, especially for winter camping. And with the bed rug, you can actually unzip the bottom portion. So I kept the side portion of the bed rug that goes all the way around. Okay, so that's how I have the patches in the rear, just to help with some insulation factor. And that is also why I added this carpet on here as well. This is also like kind of waterproof, so if I was to spill anything or just get snow water, it won't soak through and basically kind of just spread all throughout. So this is just a cheap shop rug that I got from Costco and cut it to fit. All right. Now we also have the diesel heater that is vented into the side here. This is using the cubby from Nick, and this thing has been phenomenal. All right. So I'm going to say, like, the diesel heater, obviously, you know, I was talking about the Dometic, like probably one of my favorite modifications, but also the diesel heater, by far one of my favorite modifications as well. Okay. Having it away and not inside the cab, having to worry about it, having to transport it. If you have the ability to do that, it is incredible. All right. With the Super Pacific and having the pass-through space, the heater works incredibly well. Again, this is, if you've seen my video on it, it's a Lavaner Pro, 2 kilowatts, and they actually did send me their Alpine version, so we will be swapping that out. Nothing the matter with this one at all. It's been incredible. Craig over at Lavaner, though, wanted me to try out their higher end model, which is the Lavaner Alpine, which will auto adjust based on elevation or altitude. Okay. But that essentially heats all of downstairs. So we have Odie. He sleeps up on that platform now. I don't have to worry about him getting cold or chilly down here. It actually is very, very warm. I have to worry about him actually getting too hot versus not staying warm enough. Okay. So diesel heater there, Goose Gear setup, base plate. We've got the drawers, and then over in this back corner, so with this one, this basically just lifts. If I can do this one-handed. Slide this over. And so what I basically have in this one is bedding. So you'll see I have my Aeronaut. Let's move this out of the way, guys. Hang on. So we have the Aeronaut in here. Fantastic blanket. I also keep an extra one in here just in case. This is a sea to summit. This is only rated for 45 degrees, but just in case. And then we also have recovery gear. So I've got gloves, winter gloves. This is a pot from Sea to Summit. And then we just got my winch and stuff down there, okay? Now, when we do the lithium battery setup, the plan is to put those in this cubby, okay? So I'm gonna have to kind of rearrange this a little bit eventually. But for right now, this is how we have it set up. And again, kind of just a bedding storage one for right now. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in here. Now, one thing that you'll see is this, okay? This is actually for a Laguna table that I have. So just like you might see in vans, that's essentially what this is. So when the camper is popped and moved around, we just go ahead and slide that right in there, and it acts as a table, which is a game changer. I used this for about 2.5 weeks in Utah. Talk about incredible. It completely changed my workflow, work efficiency, and this, again, is just an awesome addition. All right. Now, for power, right now, we are using this Anker Solic C1000. I've had this unit for about 4 weeks now, and it has been phenomenal, all right? Having all the ports on the front here is just fantastic. Some other things about this power station is it charges extremely fast, so it can charge 0 to 100% in less than 58 minutes, which is incredible because I usually forget to charge this or plug it in after getting back. But now I do have solar, okay, so there's a 100-watt panel that is constantly being fed to this power station, which is A+. Some of the other things that are just kind of handy is it's got this light, which I kind of thought was a little gimmicky at first, but I use it more than I thought I would, okay? So if you're like, if it's dark in here and I don't like have the lights turned on, if I just want to kind of turn this on real quick, it just illuminates the camper just enough. And it also allows me to see where to plug stuff in at, okay? So app control, fantastic. And yes, it powers the diesel heater fine. A lot of power stations struggle to actually power a diesel heater, but this one does just fine, okay? So now moving on to the back wall here, I have all 3 of the Molly panels for the back panel from Super Pacific, all right? Now this mess on the left is going to be cleaned up. Again, we're going to be doing a lithium battery setup in the rear. 200 amp hours is the plan, and that Auxbeam will be connected to those panels, because right now we have the Auxbeam situated right there, which is a fantastic product. Especially, I mean, look how OEM that fits. I had to do no modifications for that to fit onto the side there, okay? So that will be changed around, but the Auxbeam panel is Bluetooth as well, which is great. So once I get upstairs into the tent, I can actually just turn that on and off via my phone. No issues at all. We just have some Molly bags here just for some cable storage as well. We have the Steadfast tool roll, which is actually for my cooking stuff, which you guys have seen in quite a few videos. We've got the Hest Pillows, and then behind there, you will see the Starlink router. I just have an Amazon router holder that was probably about 15 bucks, just bolted to that Molly panel. Just some various stuff in this Molly bag. And then, like I said, This is actually where Odie sleeps at night, is on this flat platform, and he's out of the way. Okay. Now, no ports on this back panel, but we do have a few ports here. USB-C, USB to charge stuff. We've got the Auxbeam CO monitor as well, which has been actually really helpful. And if you're running a diesel heater, you should have one of these regardless. This has gone off a couple times, okay? So if the wind is going a certain direction, or if the fire is put out and actually the smoke is coming into it, towards the back of the tailgate, the diesel heater will suck up the smoke, and it has set this off, okay? I also like just having this because then even during the day, I can see the humidity and the temperature outside. These are for the lights inside, which are just NiLights. These are NiLight truck lights, and I have them on downstairs and upstairs. I had to splice those together, which was not an easy thing to do, just more of a time-consuming hassle. But basically I have the bottom and then also the upstairs connected all to one switch now, okay? Because when you buy these off of Amazon, they only come in like a set of 2. So if you want them to be connected more than like just a pair, you have to cut and splice. And because these are RGB, I think I had to splice like 3 or 4 wires together, which again, not super hard, more of just a hassle and time consuming. But that is what we have for power. All right, so let's go ahead and pop open the tent and get upstairs. All right, so we are currently standing in the pass-through space of the Super Pacific. Now, I came from the GFC, and many of you guys probably know how the GFC is set up. So there's 3 squares that you can move. You have 2 basically 25 by 25. And again, this is for a mid-size Tacoma. So basically like a 25 by 25 square that you can move, and then a 25 by 50 larger one that you can move. And you can kind of configure that however you would want in the GFC, which was really nice. Not gonna lie, I was a little bit concerned because I loved that setup so much. I was a little bit concerned when I came to the Super Pacific, okay? And again, it's just change, and it took me a little bit to get actually used to it. But I have really learned to love how Super Pacific has done this, okay? So on the newer ones, the newer Super Pacifics, they have this Molly style basically cover here, okay? So you can go like this. If you really wanted to, you could actually attach stuff to this and access it from the bottom at camp. So that's something else you can do. The other thing that you can do with these is hang them from here, and whoop, you can actually just hang those right there, okay? So if you wanted to at night, if you're getting up and down or whatever, you can actually just hang it right there, okay? Now, I've also seen some people just cover this with a little bit of bug netting. So bugs, especially during the summertime, don't get up in here. What I've done is I actually just pull the X-Ped over it if I'm going out and if I know there potentially would be bugs that are coming up in there, okay? But that's that. We have one of their crash pads as well on this. So the Super Pacific, the actual sleeping platform itself, you could say is 80 inches. And then this pass-through space right here is a full 20 inches, okay? So what this crash pad is essentially doing is filling in that space, okay? So when the X-Ped is filled up, it's a little over 4 inches, which is incredible, by the way. I had one of these in my old tent, the CBT mount hood, and I never slept better. So love the X-Ped. But basically what this crash pad does is fills in that extra space. Not necessary by any means. What I did originally here is just usually stuff like sweatshirt, some extra clothes, and then put my pillow on it, okay? So 80 inches, 20 inches of pass-through, which is great because you can actually set up your bed and get in and out of the tent. So when you have someone else up here, instead of disrupting them and having to move a floor panel, all you have to do is move your side. That other person can still sleep, not be disrupted unless you're really loud, and you could just crawl out on your side, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get these out of the way so we can move this floor panel, okay? So the great thing about the Super Pacific 2 is if I wanted to work standing up, I certainly could. So this is a great platform for height. But if you want to completely move your bed out of the way, we're just going to go ahead and fold the X-Ped, and then all you have to do is push, and that slides all the way, okay? So one thing, just, and I'm kind of getting off topic here about like what I like about the Super Pacific, but with the mid-size Tacoma, you basically get all access to the whole bed of the truck, okay? GFC came out to probably about here. Again, it's just shorter, so they actually push that bed space a little bit more over the bed of the truck, okay? But we'll leave that like that. Again, super awesome. And then if you really wanted to, you can just pop these right up there. And now, I mean, look at all this room. I mean, it's a 5-foot bed Tacoma, guys. Come on, it's not a lot of room, but it's awesome still, okay? Interior, we have their organization top panel thingamabob here. I forget the exact name of it. Really well built. It's awesome. You got these bigger pockets here, smaller pockets. You can hang a light, your keys from there, and just mounts directly into the track system that's on the inside here, okay? Those are those NiLights that I was talking about. So I wanted the upstairs and the downstairs to be connected. I didn't want them to be separate. They're all connected to the Auxbeam, so I can control it via Bluetooth. But basically what I did is I had to cut and splice these top ones. I also shortened them because some of it was really long. Basically just splice them together, and then those are routed down and under. So there is the diesel heater controller as well. So here's the other great thing, is this is where that bottom portion comes out to right here. This is the pass through. All I have to do in the middle of the night, which I have done this quite a bit, is I can either turn off the heater if I wanted to, or turn it back on by just moving that one floor panel, all right? And so how I've been sleeping when it's just me, I push this bed all the way back, okay? I cover, so I sleep on this side. I cover the portion of that, and I actually just leave this section open. So what happens is that heat from the diesel heater kind of goes right here, and then it just circulates up, okay? So that's how I do it. With two people, you got to do it a little bit differently, obviously. My plan is to probably have an attachment for this and to basically have it routed up through here, because you can actually, so if you have that panel switch like this, and then you have this other one like this, these do essentially slide right onto each other, okay? So with two people up here, you're gonna have to have a little hack to essentially get the heat up here, but still love having the diesel heater like that. So that's really the inside of the Super Pacific and how I have it built out. I have attached all these little attachment points, which just work great for hanging your keys, whatever, if needed. Those were just cheap on Amazon. We got them on the back here as well. So yeah, that is the interior. And like I said, the next big thing, 200 amp hours of heated lithium batteries. Wintertime will be the ultimate test for that, but it's much needed, guys, with Starlink, charging camera battery, charging computers, running my refrigerator. I just need more power. And 200 amp hours is about, I think it's a little over 2,500 watt hours. And on longer trips, I've actually been running 2 power stations, which is the equivalent of basically the same amount. So if we can have it all in one in this cubby, 200 amp hours of lithium battery, I would be absolutely stoked about that. Okay. But yeah, that's that. We're going to go ahead and jump outside and wrap up this video. All right, guys, so that is my Super Pacific build out as it sits right now, which is crazy to see. I mean, the build involved very fast when I think about it. So again, I picked that up middle of January, and I forgot when I did the Utah trip exactly, but that was a great test for that setup because I had the Goose gear already in. I was able to use the Laguna table in Utah, which worked incredible. And honestly, I'm stoked about it, okay? Again, there's just some minor things that I want to change, specifically related to power. I need more power. I know it's crazy. That power station is 1,000 watt hours. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just need more juice for Starlink, for charging everything else and whatnot, okay? So that's gonna happen. We might change the awning on the outside as well to an alu cab, which would be incredible. So that might work. And then possibly changing up the solar. Beyond that though, I really don't see too many more changes happening to the interior of the Super Pacific, except an insulation kit. That might happen. We might be working on that. I'm really pushing Super Pacific to make a different color in the insulation kit because I want to camp in that thing this coming winter when it's like -15, -20. I want to push this thing as hard as I can and see what it's capable of. Okay, we did -5 in the GFC, which was freezing even with the diesel heater being piped in. So I want to see what we can do in the Super Pacific. Maybe we can do -15, -20. I don't know yet, okay? But I've got some huge things that I want to check off the list with this camper. And obviously, -15, -20 in wintertime. I'm also chasing 100 nights in this thing in 2024. And like I've already mentioned, I'm at night 32, I believe. I have my list that I'm saving. I want to hit 100 nights in this thing for 2024, okay? That'll be about 25 more than the GFC that I did in 2023. And I'm already ahead of what I was this time last year. So I definitely think it is feasible and also possible. All right, guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If there's anything on the camper that maybe I missed, maybe you have more questions on, just drop them down below, okay? I'll definitely get back to you. If there's a product that I don't have linked in the bio, I'm gonna try to link everything that I've put on the truck in the bio, but if there is something that I potentially missed, just go ahead and drop a question and request that down below. With that, I'm super stoked about the camper. The guys over at Super Pacific have been incredible. I saw them at Expo West down in Arizona. I've already given them some feedback on some things that I think potentially could be improved on with the camper. Super receptive about the feedback. Peter, the main individual who pretty much designed this thing, is incredible, okay? The ability for me to be out here testing products is what they want, and the ability for me to also give constructive feedback and for them to take it in a very constructive way is a breath of fresh air. Okay, so there's some things on it. Again, nothing major. It's just me being very, very nitpicky and nothing that has overall affected my experience with the camper at all. Okay. There's also been some concern about potentially being biased because, you know, I got a slight discount on this camper. I'm very honest and open about that. I will just let you know, that even with that discount, I paid more than a brand new GFC would cost while being shipped to California, okay? So yes, there was a slight marketing discount, but nothing major, okay, guys? I know people that have gotten GFCs completely for free. Many of probably the bigger influencers that you've seen have all gotten campers for free, okay? I did not get this camper for free. I paid a hefty coin still for this camper, and even if I didn't get a discount, I was planning on switching to something else after the GFC regardless. Whether it was a Super Pacific, an Alucab, those were really my two options that I was looking at, okay? Yeah, let's just go ahead and wrap up the video. We'll save the whole 50-night review for when we hit 50 nights, which will be coming up very shortly with the rate that we're going at. Super excited to discuss that in a video and just kind of recap my overall experience with the camper thus far. With this video, so we're currently outside of Havre, Montana, and we're gonna film a little camping video and a little secret thing on top of that too that I've been working towards, okay? We're gonna wrap it up. Again, guys, I appreciate the support, the likes, the comments, the subscribes. They mean the world to me, okay? I love doing this stuff. Like, even if there wasn't social media around, I would still be doing this, all right? I love camping. I love getting out here. And hopefully I can show that by being authentic, being genuine about this, and just sharing my experiences with y'all, all right? So again, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and catch you guys in the next one.